Hello Sanya. In this video I'm going to give you feedback for one last time to a summary. From now on, starting next week, I will be giving feedback to the evidence paragraph because we really need to focus on that. But this time is the last time I'm giving feedback to a summary, so let's begin. In the short episodes I would include the title of the video, even though it is basically it's not really a very typical lecture at all, is it? It's just 8 videos spliced together. So, but still, you can include the title. Jeff Bezos argues that, there we go, people should work hard if there are difficulties in the work and be proud of their choices. Okay, now this would be one of the things that he says. Remember the main idea. You've done a good job to try and make it sound argumentative, but let's try and summarize the whole thing, the whole 8 tips that he gives. Now, without obviously enumerating them one by one, because that's going to take you a very long time. The first sentence needs to be concise as well as argumentative. So here, just summarize the whole video. And how can you do that? You can say something like, argues that it is important for young entrepreneurs to follow certain rules or something like that, right? So that it doesn't sound like it's only one piece of advice. That's the main idea. Okay. At the beginning, the creator of Amazon claims that future workers have to manage their time. There we go. Because our life contains many things that waste. Here, that's not necessary. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to learn how to manage your time. That's it. That's enough. After that, in the second episode, Mr. Bezos states that young people should focus on the calling. On which calling? And provides, when you put it in that way, it doesn't become very clear what is being meant. The calling in this video is basically your vocation, your work, your calling. So maybe you have a job, but that's not your calling. That's fine. But when you say should focus on the calling, it's just not very clear. Maybe on their calling. That will make it a bit better if you use a pronoun. Should focus on their calling. That will make it a little bit better. And he provides a personal example of his childhood. Okay, fine. But remember, we stay away from examples. So instead of that, what you can do is explain a little bit more about the distinction between your profession and your calling. That will make it clear, and you don't need to include this example. So you could say something like, Mr. Bezos states that young people should think very carefully whether their current job, or when they choose a job, they should try to first think about their calling, right? Then it becomes clear that your job should be your calling. It should be something that you're passionate about, not simply you work for a paycheck, right? It means that a job or career is different from a calling. Okay. Now all of that could be said very, very simply, right? In one sentence. And this will save you space for all the rest, isn't it? So he argues that I think something that would combine all these 3 sentences together would be better, or these 2 sentences. Another piece of advice Mr. Bezos gives is that young people should think about their calling in order to be successful entrepreneurs. Young entrepreneurs should focus mostly on their calling, right? Something like that. The next piece of advice for the audience is based on his personal experience. You've mentioned that again twice, right? Personal example, personal experience. And the speaker claims that, so here, just go straight into without this. Next, or the next advice Bezos gives is, this will save you a lot of space, you see? Because you will need this space if you want to include all the 8 tips. You will need to be as succinct as possible. So all of this, he provides a personal example. The next piece is for response. All of that is not necessary. You can just say it very, very succinctly. The next piece of advice Bezos gives is, that's it, people's skills. Okay, but here we're missing something. People's skills, what, should be based on, or some, is that what you're trying to say? People's skills should be based on personal experience. I'm not very sure what this is saying. Okay. Speaker's speech is based on, right? This is a passive. On the importance of resourcefulness, maybe? Because this is an adjective. You can't have an adjective here. Yeah, here this is kind of unclear. Speaker's speech bases on the importance of resourceful, driven, hard work. So you have an adjective, here you have a noun, and here you have an adjective and a noun. This should be, if you want to say if it's the importance of, all of these should be nouns. Resourcefulness, a clear dream, and hard work, something like that. So that would make it clear. Or you could just say, next, Bezos discusses the importance of resourcefulness, having a clear dream, and working hard. And that's it. Instead of speaker's speech, right? Okay. Mr. Bezos' ideas and examples describe the impact of adversity on the work process when people have to make a choice on how to organize. See, all of this is very wordy. So what you want to do, I mean, your style is very good. There's nothing wrong with the style, but it's just, you want to economize, you want to be as succinct as possible because you only have 200 words. So you want to be clear and succinct. So instead of, see how many words, his ideas and examples describe the impact of adversity on the work process when people have to make a choice on how to organize their work, from hardness to the easiest parts. You see, it's just very wordy. What are you trying to say here? Bezos' next tip is the necessity, is the need to be organized, is the need to organize the working process, starting from smaller pieces to the bigger picture or something like that, right? We should start small. I think that's what he was talking about, right? When you have your own company, you should start small because it's more easy to manage and organize. You can just say that. And then here describes the example, it describes the impact of adversity on the work process. It's just a little bit too wordy, and so it becomes kind of, it's not very clear what's happening here. What is this adversity, you know? So the more clauses you pile up in a sentence, the more likely it is for the reader to be confused. And remember, this summary, we're making it, the rule of thumb is, you should think about, can you, when you write the summary, can somebody who has not seen the video, can they understand what was the video about just from reading the summary? And here, I'm not sure what the adversity is doing here, and then I can understand this part, right? But this sentence mixes two ideas together and it's kind of unclear. So just be very simple, very succinct, and that's much better than having these long sentences. So you could say something like, Bezos' next tip is the importance of being well organized and starting from and first focusing on more manageable, smaller pieces, or something like that, before moving on to the whatever, to the bigger picture, or something. I'm not saying it very well here, but something along the lines of when we have a business, we need to start small because it's more manageable, something like that. And then I would say just forget about the adversity. He did mention hard work though. He did talk about how here, when you mention hard work, he did say you should try and achieve your dream the hard way instead of expecting success to come as a gift to you. So maybe you can, when you save some words here and there, you could give yourself a bit of space to expand on that idea, because that was kind of important. Okay. Finally, the creator of Amazon concludes that success is based on, right? You need something here, you need a verb. If this is a passive construction, you kind of like this, don't you? Is based on. Why not? It's a good expression to use. Success is based on a bigger vision than your competitors. Okay, that's fine. Now here, he does mention that. I would say this is just one of the supporting ideas. In your concluding sentence, what you want to do, you want the conclusion. The conclusion should summarize the whole, kind of like the whole video. In this case, we only have 8 episodes spliced together, but you should still try and use the rubric. When you write a summary, think about the rubric. What does it say? The first sentence should be argumentative. Okay, very good, you've done that. Then you should include all the supporting ideas very succinctly. And finally, the concluding sentence should capture the whole video. And even though it's very difficult to do that, we can still try and force ourselves. So you could say something along the lines of, in conclusion, the creator of Amazon, claims that, kind of go back to the first sentence, claims that it is important to follow all these rules, or all these pieces of advice, all this advice, if you want to start a successful business, or something like that, So overall, yeah, it's well written. You're using cohesive devices here quite a lot. The next piece of advice, the name of the speaker, yeah, very good. Good use of reporting verbs. Your sentence structure is generally good. I would just say try and make it very, very clear. Again, the rule is, if somebody has not seen the video, would they understand? Okay, Sane, I hope this is helpful to you. Good luck with your summary in the exam. From now on, we're focusing on the evidence paragraph.